Hi, and welcome to our very first Syspro Women in Tech panel discussion featuring Sandra Frager, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, Sive Sodidi, Team Lead, Digital Marketing Operations, Kim Fishay, Head of Software Development, Aisha Ilyas, Junior Technical Author, Leanne Ponen, Manager, Education and User Enablement, Kelly Kisera, Vice President, Marketing and Sales Enablement, Kendra Knight, Manager, Accounting, Christine Laxon, Manager, Consulting Services, and Katrina Hansel, Director, Human Resources. I'm Nhlakanipho Zondi, Head of Product Marketing at Syspro Corporate. Every year, we celebrate International Women's Day. This year's global theme, Break the Bias, resonates with us as an organization that uplifts, empowers, and develops skills that advance women's careers. It is ingrained in Syspro's culture that we support equal opportunities for women and that we educate and inspire young women to join the STEM workforce. Our business supports women in STEM. We stand behind women empowerment, women in ERP, women in manufacturing and distribution, women in tech, and women at Syspro. Welcome, ladies, to our panel. Let's jump right in. Sandra, you are a passionate advocate for the upliftment of female leadership and being a mentor to aspiring young entrepreneurs. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how you think the tech industry and landscape have changed or evolved specifically for women.
Gender inequality still remains an issue for corporates globally, specifically in the tech industry, where we're only seeing 25% of women holding positions in that industry. We would like to see that evolve even further to get to that 50%. There's been a lot of research done around the world that if you've got female entrepreneurs and female leaders in your business, that you actually grow your revenue and your bottom line.
Have there been any challenges you've experienced in your career journey, and how did you overcome them?
In Clax, I would love to say that there haven't been challenges, but there have been. I think there's a lot of lessons that I've learned, and the one is that you need to believe in yourself as a female entrepreneur and as a female in the business. You need to believe in your skill set and in your ability, and you need to have a voice at the table because once you've got a voice, and you're confident in what you're saying, and you can prove, let the work prove for itself, people will take you seriously.
Thank you, Sandra. Sive, do you think enough is being done to get more women into the tech industry? And why do you think it is important to get more women in this industry?
As Sandra had mentioned, unfortunately, not enough is being done. I think just bringing in women in the tech industry just brings that extra innovation in a company and in a business. We have such different backgrounds. We come with a different dynamic. And I think each business and the industry would gain with having women in the company.
Sive, I really like what you've just said. I do believe that women bring a new dynamic to the work environment. We're very creative. We think differently. We're innovative. And I think, in this post-pandemic world, more and more people are looking for empathy. And that's something that I believe women can certainly bring to the table.
And I think in addition to that, Sandra, it's so important for young people, especially in presently in school, to understand that there are opportunities for them as well. These young people need a role model that they can aspire to, but will also show them the way that there's opportunities out there for them to tap into and for them to also leverage off,
On that note, Leanne, your role quite literally is about empowering female youth in the ERP and the tech industry through Syspro's learnership and internship programs. How important is it to have these programs and why?
I think it's crucial for us to have these programs in the workplace to ensure that we are able to nurture and raise a new skill set for these unemployed graduates as well as school leavers. By doing so, we create an opportunity for young women to actually showcase their talent. What they bring to the table is all the skills that they've learned previously, but then they combined with the technical skills as well as the soft skills, then what we are able to do is to sharpen and create a new skill set for them.
Fantastic. We actually have a woman on the panel today who not only excelled through Syspro's internship program, but has also been absorbed into the organization. Aisha, welcome. Tell us, how was your experience in the internship program and how has it been to launch your career through it?
When I first entered the program, I had just come out of high school, so it was a very difficult time for me. I had never been in a working environment, and especially the type of skills I was learning, ranging from coding, actually maintaining and upgrading the hardware, wasn't something that I had been exposed to. And stereotypically, we know that is a male's job. So for me, the reward was actually being able to head into a career that was male-dominated. And to my surprise, when I came into Syspro, I found that at least half of the people that we had in our learnership program were, in fact, females. So, I mean, I'm so proud to work at a company that really focuses and nurtures females.
Aisha, I really like what you've just said. And if there's one thing that we're really proud of as a leadership team at Syspro is that, 50% of our workforce is actually female, which is really way above the industry average of 25%. So we're very proud of that stat.
And I think something that we're also quite proud of is that in the internship program, there are 54% females that we recruit for. So that is that's a huge shift and change for us.
On the internship program, Kim, were these types of programs and opportunities available when you finished your schooling?
No. So when I finished studying and I started working, if you were lucky, you got a colleague that would help you out from time to time. But other than that, you were pretty much on your own. When I started working, there was no Google, there was no YouTube. So you had nothing like that to fall back on. So most of what I learned in my career was self-taught.
Let's talk about STEM and tech being well-renowned as male-dominated industries. Sandra mentioned earlier that about 25% of all jobs in tech are held by women, despite women making up over 50% of the total workforce. And what's worse is that this number is actually lower than the number of tech jobs that were held by women in the 80s.
I can believe those stats. I often find myself sitting in a room full of people and I'm the only female there. I compared those stats to our corporate development team, and there are 28% of women in our corporate development team that are software engineers. We need to bring a balance of women into a male-dominated industry. So I believe the change comes from schools. And I believe primary schools actually need to change and invoke this passion for critical thinking and problem solving amongst young girls that can inspire them to go into IT.
Let's hear from our team in the US. Kelly, Kendra, your thoughts?
Thanks, NCLUX. I would just add to what Kim just said and really encourage women to look more broadly at the types of roles that are in STEM. Look at finance, business analysis, market research, all things that are critical components to STEM businesses.
I know they're focusing on it in schools a lot more now. Our 11-year-old has been absolutely loving all of the coding that they've had a chance to do in school. She's actually part of tech club, so that's been a big thing. And the teacher actually made her the head of the tech club this year. So she's been all about computer and programming. And we're even doing supplemental coding classes on the weekends. And she absolutely loves it.
And Katrina?
I think that what Kim said is really true. I think that how we treat young children very early on shapes what their view is of themselves and what they're capable of doing. I think in elementary school, making STEM accessible for everybody is really important. And I think how we treat children is really important to how they shape their view of how they fit into the world.
Kelly, you're Vice President of Marketing for Syspro USA. How have you managed to grow your career and find balance?
Originally, I thought I could strike some ideal balance between being a wife, a mother, and a business professional. Like it was some idyllic end state or euphoric end state that I was trying to get to. And I felt stressed all the time, and I never felt like I was great at any of them. And a number of years ago, someone gave me the advice that balance is a verb and not a noun. And it really allows you to rebalance or be balancing every day based on the priority and needs of where you're needed most. And it really just gave me the license to be the best mom, the best wife, and the best business professional.
I like that. That definitely helps kind of shift the mindset of the whole concept. Because I know we really want to strive to like be home by a certain time, be there for dinner, you want to be part of all of it. And I think Syspro has done amazing at making it something that we can do. I've been able to go to some of the school stuff in the morning, but still get my work done in the afternoon. And if I don't get enough time throughout the day, then we shift to working later. But it's like, I don't mind working later because I can. And I got to do the home stuff. I got to be with my family for this. You get to be included in all of it.
I think that Syspro has really allowed me at this point in my career to be my full self, to show up and know that on any given day, my team might need me more, my house might need me more, especially with the last couple of years.
Yep.
And every new day is a different set of priorities and a different way to be balancing our lives.
Definitely.
Does this ring true to you, being moms, Leanne and Kim?
Absolutely. As a single mom, I have to ensure that I have a structure and a plan in place always. I have to make sure that I am able to accommodate their needs as well as mine. So it's all about having a discussion, planning, and being prepared. And also making sure that I have a network of people that I can tap into and rely on continuously.
So shortly after I started working, I got married and had a family. And a lot of my time was spent, or my focus was on raising my family and running the household. So actually, I only started studying for my degree once my younger son was in grade 11 and my older son was already out of school studying for his degree.
It's very inspiring because, I know even though I don't have children and I'm not a mother yet, it's already very difficult to balance your work life and just your personal life. So I really admire you for your strength and all mothers across the company.
And I think this is one, you've touched on a key area. Globally, we're seeing, during this pandemic, especially a good percentage of women have actually stop working because they cannot balance that work life any longer because there's just too much pressure in the family life. So it's definitely something that corporate needs to be mindful of.
And that's why I really appreciate working for a company like Syspro, because we've been given the opportunity to be flexible, not only with our time, but they've also come into a place where they've supported us as women and as people that are running our household to help balance and bring that collaboration. We're not just people that are in the office and working, but they realize that we are humans and we do have another part of our lives. And that's really, really been impressive.
We are in the tech industry. Christine and Katrina from our Canada office, do you feel any bias being women in an industry that has been historically male?
So I've actually had my share of biases in the workplace. So most organizations that I've been part of have supported diversity and inclusion for the most part. But in actual organizations that I've led, I've had employees that report to me that have told me outright, right, that they weren't comfortable reporting to a woman as well as someone younger. There was a weird dynamic with the organization wherein if someone or another woman would provide their input or say something that this is how it should be done, they're a little bit more hesitant in accepting that opinion. I think it comes with them thinking to some extent that we women are not as technical as they are, especially being in IT. It's definitely something that we should work towards breaking.
And I think the more women that they work with in tech, they start to see how capable they are. They get more used to it. They'll get more comfortable and it will start to not be a problem. My experience is probably different from a lot of my colleagues because my role is not focused on tech so much as it's been focused on people. And human resources is a job that is well represented by women. The other piece of that is that the only tech experience that I have is working with Syspro, and I am happy to say that I haven't experienced any bias.
Sive, you have a background in engineering, also known for being male-centric. Can you share some of the experiences you've had? And also considering that this year's International Women's Day theme is Break the Bias, what can be done to break the bias?
It's not just one seat at the table anymore. It's everyone's seat, and everyone can have an opportunity. And I think that's where we need to tap into and break that stereotype and bias, not to say you are a female and how did you get in there, but you are allowed to be there and we welcome you full-heartedly.
So I think it's the upliftment of each other. When we unite, then we develop a cohesiveness of support, and we actually can push each other further by learning from each other.
Kelly, Kendra, your thoughts?
The culture of winning together. I really wish I had had that in more places, because it does encourage everyone to find a solution regardless of gender. And as long as we look at it less as women, men, or different race things, I think it really helps us all win together, thinking it through as we're better than the sum of our individual parts.
Yeah. And everybody has their weaknesses. Everyone has their strengths. So really working together is its best case scenario. Absolutely. You can all focus on different things and so much more is accomplished. And then everybody feels better at the end of the day.
Okay, here are some quick fire questions. What's the best career advice you've ever received? And what advice would you give to other women in tech? Kim, Sandra?
So the best advice I've ever received is trust in your intuition or your gut. And I do believe in women's intuition. I've just been told that you actually have to go find the facts and back up that intuition, and then you're on the right path. I think the best advice I can give for somebody up and coming in our industry is, or young girl in our industry, is to invest time in yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Sandra?
The best career advice I've been given is just be authentically yourself and let the work speak for you. I think if you're talented and you're skilled, people are going to take notice of you. And what would be my advice to young female entrepreneurs is, number one, believe in yourself and have a mentor, someone that you can bounce ideas off and can really nurture your growth.
Kendra?
Never hesitate to ask a question, because the worst response you're going to get is a no. And at least, I mean, are you going to be broken from getting a no? You may be upset because it's not the answer you wanted to hear, but more than likely, the response you're going to get is what you need, if not more.
Christine?
So one of the best pieces of advice that I've actually received is that your career is a marathon, not a sprint.
And Katrina?
The best advice that I've received is just go for it. That if you have an opportunity and a passion to try something, that you owe it to yourself to do that.
Wow, that's excellent. That's great food for thought. Are there women that have inspired you, that you admire and emulate? Aisha?
There are two women that do inspire me. The first is my mother. She's been my pillar of strength, and she's been there for me in my toughest battles and times, and also yet my joyous moments. And second is actually a woman who works within the company, and her name is Carol Hart. She was actually the lady who groomed me in my transition towards authoring, and is the reason why I'm learning so much in the profession that I am in today. And I just hope to learn more from them. And honestly, there's so much I can learn from them, and I hope to emulate their behavior and their character.
Stop me.
Christine?
One of the women that has most inspired me is actually my mom. So my mom is the one that has showed me that it's possible to be a career woman. I just hope that I can be the same example to my children in the future.
And Katrina?
I had an aunt who had 5 children, was a single mom, and decided that as an adult, she was going to go back to school. So when I decided to change careers and go into HR, going back to school just seemed like a natural thing. I didn't even question whether I could do it or whether it was the right thing. I just went and enrolled.
Kelly?
A professor of mine from grad school really inspired me in both micro and macro ways, using little things like, I wonder if, to start sentences, or using and instead of a but is a very inclusive way when you're dealing with both your children and your peers and your leadership teams. I'm very inspired by her.
I think the biggest inspiration I've had has actually been my older sister. She did the cheerleading in high school, and it was like, oh, I want to be like her. I want to do cheerleading. I never did. Not talented in that manner. I did water sports. But she had this goal to be an astronaut, and she wanted it. She wanted it. I mean, it was all she talked about was she wanted it. So she didn't ultimately get to do the astronaut thing because unfortunately those have kind of been phased out over the years. But she got her degree in aeronautical engineering. And so it's a huge accomplishment, especially with all the biases that we've talked about today, because I sat in with her in one of her engineering classes and it was all males. She was the only female in the class and it was intimidating, but she killed it.
She'd be a role model for all of us.
Finish this sentence. My wish for the future is...
My wish for the future is to see the girl child in Africa be afforded more opportunities from a grassroots level.
My wish for the future is to work in an industry where biases are not a stumbling block.
My wish for the future is that for my children, my 2 daughters actually, that as they pursue their dreams, that they're able to without encountering any biases anymore.
My wish for the future is that my son will support women to break all biases, whether it's race, religion, or gender biases.
My wish for the future is that we can continue to encourage the kids to take advantage of all the things that they have in front of them to grow and how much they have that we didn't have when we were growing up and how open they are to just completely blowing the lid off of everything.
And my wish is female domination.
Thank you for joining us. This has really been wonderful. And thank you, ladies, for being here. We appreciate your inspiring thoughts. Bye, and thank you for watching.